Morning. Nico's in here with the dogs. Where am I? There you go. One over there and one over there. And in the last conversation, we were talking about really capital markets, fractional reserve banking, and the current structure of markets. Given that we're all trying to exist to make a living, and we live in a world where fractional reserve banking and the current capital markets doesn't work for people. It works for the few, but it doesn't work for the masses. And that's systematic control. Whether it was from the Medicis in the 1400s, where they created the principle of debt to finance wars between different families and regions, and it's that whole ethos has propagated that once you get somebody in debt with you, you have power over them, and the whole ethos of traditional capital markets is based on that. They lend you money, extortionate money, like a mortgage, depending on what the interest rate is, but you can end up paying for your house twice over a 25-30 year period, which is it's about keeping the people poor, isn't it? So I think really the blockchain decentralization movement, the Satoshi, it's a very powerful set of tools to do things differently. Can it deliver democratization? I'm not sure. And I also think that there are other constructs where you have to remove the human element from decision making, because humanity, or humans in particular, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's that kind of, we're not very, very good, not only at working together, but we're just not very good in avoiding temptation and using, when we have the upper hand, using it for our own personal, benefit. So, there's a lot of people talking about decentralized autonomous organizations, and these are essentially software organizations where the constitution is created to make it inherently fair. And I got involved in a few DAOs in 2017, in fact, quite early, where in the gaming and gambling industry, they were trying to create a gaming organization that would remove the house advantage, which is very interesting. And it's a great ambition, because gambling, as computer sciences, it's all about random number, or genuine random number generation, which is that time-based clock for processing. But in a sense, there's no sense of creating a pure random number unless you use an atomic clock, which is a different conversation. But the basis of an autonomous organization is the constitution. But then you have to consider that every piece of software written is written with the bias of the programmer. Now, that's unknowing bias, but of course programmers are humans, and they may actually put knowing bias into the equation, and or leave other traps, backdoors, and do other naughty things. So hence, the whole argument about smart contracts, which are not smart and they're not contracts, about getting them audited and validated. Again, another conversation, but the whole principle of a DAO is to remove that bias. And if you can create a constitution where there is equality, then I don't know if you can see that big helicopter. It's about removing the biases, so there is a constitution that can operate autonomously, where those members of the organisation have pari passu, an equal say or a vote, or they can influence outcomes and how things are run, whether it's how personal data is managed or maybe resold, because a DAO is perfect for patient records, for example. It could also be how profits are distributed. It could be, other things, how pricing is set and what have you. It's an amazing concept, DAOs. And there are some early ones, and there's a lot of people working on them. But they're very difficult to remove that human element when you launch. You know, how do you build it and then close it off so it is contained in a bubble where it can't be influenced? But then, you know, you have to check the code, who programmed it. But then don't you have to check the work of the person who's the checker? Am I distrustful of humans? Not entirely. Do I understand that human behaviour is and somewhat sort of a little bit screwed up? Yes, I do. Do I believe people unintentionally will do things? And from a programming sense, yeah, I believe so. But I'm more of the opinion that there are certain groups of people building code working in the crypto blockchain world who don't have people's best interests at heart. Few thoughts. Talk soon.